Welcome back, Crypto Fiends. Thank you as always for tuning in. Today we have a very special guest on the channel to share with us some of his wisdom and knowledge on business ownership, crypto investing, and entrepreneurship. Spencer Taring has successfully started 3 businesses created from the ground up, ranging from IT to AV hire, with successful exits on 2 of his businesses so far, selling them for millions of dollars in the process. Most recently, Spencer has set up a property development company building residential and commercial properties in the UK and is diving deep into the world of crypto, as well as being a known angel investor, and most recently starting his very own cryptocurrency YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description. So let's go ahead and learn a thing or two from Spencer Taring. So Spencer, first I want to get a good idea as to a little bit of your background. I already went over it in the intro slightly, but if you want to give us a little more in-depth view on what you have going on in your life, and also how you got into crypto. How did you change routes from your traditional investments and jump headfirst into crypto?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, it's really great to see someone you're doing great with the channel. It's up to 80K subs. So you're someone I'm kind of aspiring to in my new venture with YouTube. So it's brilliant that you've kind of got me involved. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So had an IT business long time ago, but when I was 18, actually, I had this IT business. It was originally doing website design, and that was back in when the internet started, which was kind of not when it started, but when it started becoming mainstream, right? And back then we would do website designs, and people ask me, they say, Spencer, why would I ever need a website? It was that kind of mentality was going on. And we gradually built that business up, and it became actually a data center business. So me and my friend from school, we built that business up, and I sold it in 2011 for quite a significant sum of money, because we had 3 10,000 square foot data centers by that time. And in the meantime, I'd been off and I was doing some other things. And I started DJing and I was doing this kind of stuff because I'm quite an outgoing person. I like to party as well, as I'm sure you've seen.
DJ, why don't you play something different? Like this?
Maybe if someone's looking at my channel, they might have seen I've kind of got this country
Yeah, I saw a few of those videos. Looked like the time of your life for sure.
Not my fair share of partying, for that sure. And I actually got offered I knew I was selling this business, and I kind of got offered a job to go and be a DJ in China. And it wasn't, it's not really a job. It was kind of like, do you want to come and do it? And I was like, okay, whatever, I'm coming out. Brilliant. I never thought I'd do it. Went out to China, and I basically was the DJ and music director, and also I'd sold this business. So I had got a load of money in my pocket, and I was suddenly the DJ at this massive club in Shanghai. And it was just the most exciting thing. It was so amazing. And obviously, I'm like this white guy there with like stupid big car and all this kind of, so I was having a great time, and it was really good. And then after a few years, I started wanting to get back into business. So I started mining Ethereum in 2016, I think it was 2016, when ETH was around like $5 or $6, $7. And I was building these ETH rigs in my bedroom. I think they were with the R9 AMD GPUs back then. And that started growing, and obviously that was going through the beginning of kind of a bull run then, all the way leading up to around the beginning of 2018, end of 2017. And I raised quite a significant amount of money to build a huge mining farm, which we did in Shanghai with over 5,000 GPUs.
Wow.
And I built that all myself. And I can send you some pictures afterwards. You can have a look. And I almost killed myself doing that project. It was crazy. And then obviously we had the big crash. So we made a good bit of money, but we didn't make as much as we did because we overpaid for a lot of the equipment because we were building it during all the hype and all of this kind of stuff. So I learned a lot of valuable lessons, certainly when I was doing that. But that's what got me into crypto. And I'm a bit of an anarchist anyway. I kind of believe very much in the beauty of the blockchain, and why Bitcoin is so important as a hedge against these kind of all-controlling banks and the Federal Reserve and everything that's going on, all those. Because I'm very kind of conspiracy theorist. You could kind of call me a little bit that. And then at the end of 2020, beginning of 2020, obviously I came to Bali for a holiday, and coronavirus kicked off. So I couldn't go back to China, and I was like, okay, I'm going to stay in Bali. And I spent a year here, and it's been the best. I've had the best time. I've managed to kind of curb my spending, and I've put my money back into doing crypto projects, getting involved, and I've started this YouTube channel. And I feel great. I love it here. I'm having a really good time. I miss the big cities, but Bali is a great place for content creation, that's for sure. And that's where I am right now. So that's what I'm doing on the YouTube channel. I've just launched it a few months ago, and yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, that's a great story. And obviously, you might not think so, but you are definitely young for accomplishing all that stuff. So that's killer. What's it like over in Bali when it comes to like the cryptocurrency side of things? Does it even exist at all?
You know that feeling last year, or not last year, the last bull run, when the retail market started turning into a frenzy, right? And every one of your friends and their dog was trying to register on Coinbase or whatever, trying to start buying crypto. You can feel that now. I mean, I had breakfast this morning, and there was two people in there like asking me, how, because they know who I am, and they're trying to ask me, how do I get Coinbase set up? I need to buy some crypto. So I can feel like right now is the start of this long, I think, of the proper bull run right now. So I think it's going to get crazy. And but in Bali, there are some enterprising people. I mean, it's not like Shanghai. Shanghai is a hub of business, and there's some super competitive people working there. So that I kind of miss that a little bit. So you have to be very kind of self-motivated in Bali. It's very easy to just want to go to the beach every day, or just go and have a coffee and spend all day playing chess on your phone, like drinking coffee or whatever. So that's one of the things that I miss a little bit. There's not so much competitiveness here, but on the flip side, it's a wonderful place to live. And certainly if you're doing content creation, I know you mentioned you might come out here, and that's going to be brilliant because we can combine forces on some ideas and maybe get some crypto events going. It would be really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I am definitely coming out there in a couple months, and I couldn't be more excited. Obviously, I plan to not just have fun, but obviously work a little bit. So it'd be nice to figure out a way to integrate cryptocurrency content into the overall like lifestyle of Bali, and obviously,
yeah, definitely,
meet people around the world. So I did a little digging into some of your worst investments. You talked about Lombok, Indonesia, your Indonesian villa, and you also talked about your Shanghai nightclub. I want to touch on the villa first, because I actually, a couple months ago, I was actually doing just a little bit of research on building your own villa in Bali, how it all works, how to lease the land, all that sort of stuff. So do you think it's worth it still to, build real estate in Bali, or is it something you should just stay away from?
Well, Lombok and Bali are two different places in Indonesia. Lombok is an island next to Bali, and they're fundamentally different because Lombok is a very there's a lot more. The religion there is mainly Islam, and in Bali the religion is mainly Hinduism. Obviously, there are Hindus and Christians in both places, but the main religions in both places. And for me, it's a lot more. There's a lot more creativity going on in Bali. So, like, obviously, I don't want to get into slagging one religion off or another, but the Hindus seem to have this great way of welcoming people into their culture, and it's just wonderful to see it all happening. I just feel it really great, and that rubs off on everyone that wants to be here. So it's got this great vibe going on. Lombok is a much more beautiful place because there's not so many people there anymore as Bali, so it's much cleaner. But I just don't. You can weigh off the two places. If you want to go surfing, you go to Lombok because it's got the beautiful beaches and it's calm and there's no one there and it's super clean. But building there is difficult. And if you're going to come here to Bali, building in Bali, you've got much more established people to be able to do the build. So it's a lot easier to do it in Bali. But after my bad experience in Lombok, the villa I actually got in Bali, I just bought it. I couldn't take the stress of going through it anymore. So I came to Bali, I saw one I liked, and I was like, right, I have that one, and I bought that. It was already done, and it removed a lot of the stress. One of the things to note in Bali and Indonesia is that as a foreigner, you can't actually own the freehold of property. So you can only own a leasehold, and normally that's 25 years. You can sometimes extend it for a bit longer, but you own what's on the land. So I own all the improvements. So the actual villa I own. So at the end of the lease, I have kind of like a negotiation with the land freeholder. I can extend it, or I just knock the building down. And obviously he wouldn't want me to knock it down. So you've got a bit of leeway to go to negotiate. And I think there's some great opportunities in Bali right now. Obviously, with Corona, the business here has been absolutely devastated because 90% of their income here is from tourism, and there's been no tourism. So it's lots of places. I'm sure you maybe heard of Seminyak. If you were doing your research into Bali, that was kind of like the main hub of where everyone was, right? That's just completely like a ghost town now. There's no one there because there's no one visiting. But slowly, I'm in
Canggu?
I'm in between Seminyak and Canggu in a place called Umalaz.
Gotcha.
They're very close to each other, like 5 minutes by bike. It's the same kind of place, but it's in between the two areas. But there's some great opportunities here, and it will come back because Bali's just such an amazing place. They've got great internet here. The food is brilliant. It's very, very healthy. And like I said, the cost of living here is pretty much zero. So it's a great place to be. And you wanted to know about my bad investment into nightclubs. Yeah. Okay. So I thought, I've been a DJ for ever since I was doing the internet business, actually. I was always doing it on the side. And when I made quite a bit of money in 2011, 2012, I think I had a bit too much money, and I wanted to just I was kind of showing off. And when I look back on it, I'm like, that was a really stupid thing to do. And I didn't properly do my due diligence on that investment. And it cost me because we lost money on it. But I don't regret it because these kind of mistakes are like important to make, I think. I think as long as you can curb them and make sure you don't get completely wrecked by them, then they make kind of part of your character. It's important to know what's right and wrong, and you can only really learn these things by yourself. Someone else tell you not to do it. I mean, you're a better man than me if you can take that advice. I always have to learn things myself, so sometimes you learn the hard way, but that kind of makes up who I am, and I'm still here and I'm doing pretty good, so I'm very happy about that.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It's all about making mistakes, learning from them, growing. But yeah, you got some crazy stories, definitely. You lived the life of 10 men.
The Shanghai DJ stories were pretty crazy. I actually used to drive around in a Rolls Royce in Shanghai and then DJ at this place, and it was I got a bit of a reputation for myself, that's for sure. But I'm still in one piece, and actually I've quit drinking. So since
congrats.
Since New Year's Eve, actually, I haven't had a drop of alcohol, and I feel great about it. And I kind of feel like it's not just like the physical improvements, because you feel a bit fitter, a bit healthier, but I describe it as like, those kind of like guys in the olden days, they used to kind of whip themselves because their lives are so good. And when they do a sin, they kind of like self-inflict pain. I can't remember what it's called, but I feel like I need to have a little bit of difficulty in my life to make the good things, for me to value the things that are good. So by making something a struggle, making something difficult, giving myself a challenge, it really makes me very content and very happy. And I would always say that to many people. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much success you have. You've got to always challenge yourself. You've got to really have somewhere that you're going. You're on a journey, you make progress every day. It doesn't matter if you've got no money or loads of money. The point is, as long as you're making progress and you're going somewhere, for me, that's what makes you content and that's what makes you happy. And that would be my advice to you. If your channel blows up and you do really well, don't stop. Don't stop doing and just think, oh, that's it, I've done it, because that won't make you happy. You've got to make things, you've got to keep giving yourself challenge, because that's what makes every day better.
Yeah, most definitely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm honestly blessed that I'm able to understand that at such a young age. But I completely agree. Whether it was working hard to get my channel to 50K subs or working hard to get my car. Once I have it, it's like, okay, now what? It's all about the chase for sure. It's not the end result, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, for the first time in my life, I've owned Ferraris, Rolls Royces, Range Rovers, Porsches. I've had everything. I've had every car, and right now, my ride is a Yamaha NMAX 155cc scooter, and I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. I've never been happy. And I've never been wealthier either. I feel great. I've got no attachments, and it's just everything's great. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about Bali too, is to whip around on the scooters. But also like kind of what you just said, it seems like everyone that goes to Bali temporarily ends up like, obviously you had to stay, but it seems like everyone ends up staying a long time. It seems like there's just some magic in the air or something.
There's a very nice atmosphere here. The only thing I would say is, as a young, as a young guy like yourself, it's important to surround yourself with like-minded, ambitious and competitive people so that it drives you to keep being successful. A lot of people kind of, sometimes you get some people come to Bali to kind of like just get by because it's cheap and it's nice, and then they end up losing themselves. They don't really, and they don't find total happiness, and they find it very difficult to reintegrate with the world. But with the modern world that we're doing, and the work that you're doing is all kind of online, everything is done through Zoom and through YouTube and content creation. If you have that self-motivation, it's a great place to do it. And what's also brilliant about here is there's no politics. There's no like left, there's no left and right. There's no Biden versus Trump. There's none of that. People just get on with their life because most of the people here are too worried about surviving, really. The locals are too worried about surviving than they are about anything else. And I think I always like link it back to, you watch them, those series where they have all the, like the zombies take over the world, right? And everyone's dying, and there's people, but there's a few people left, but they're really living, because these people are surviving every day, and they're not worrying about anything else but surviving. And you take away that fundamental requirement to do something to survive, I think it breeds unhappiness. And I think that's actually happening in the US, and I think it's why you've got so many people that are unhappy. The US is basically living in the best time ever in the history of mankind. It's like the safest time ever. There's no real wars going on. There's no people dying. Everyone can become someone if they really want to, but people are still unhappy because a lot of people have had that requirement to do something to survive taken away from them. And I don't think it's conducive to a good, productive society. So I like Bali in that sense.
That's wonderful. I never thought of it that way, but that makes complete sense. So I want to dive a little bit more into the investment side of things. You, again, have dabbled in real estate, stocks, bonds, everything under the sun. What would you say right now are some of the best investments you can get involved in?
Okay, so the beginning of last year, I moved a lot of my stuff into crypto because I've been through a couple of bull runs, and I could feel that it was coming again. And I just had and the last bull run, I kind of, I sold too early, I think, and I moved a lot of money into property. And this bull run, I'm so sure of where we're going with the Bitcoin price. I don't know about the other cryptos because I think for me, like I'm a Bitcoin maximalist or minimalist, whichever way you look at it. Everything I do is about building my Bitcoin, but I wouldn't put all of my eggs into one basket. And I've recently I have a small stock portfolio, which I've moved recently most of my money actually into dividend paying stocks, because I think a lot of growth has started to, it's not going to grow so fast over the next 12 months, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but I like to generate some income from my portfolio at the moment. And then I have a bit of property in London, which I rent out, which is a very stable income. It's very low yield, so I'm only making like 3 or 4% yield on these properties, but I know it's there, so it's like it gives me a core base for my portfolio. But otherwise, every free money I have right now, I do crypto, because I think Bitcoin is going at least 3 times from what it is today, and that's all I can think about right now. So I wouldn't put all my eggs into it, but as long as you have already like those setups, then I would be putting as much as I can into Bitcoin.
So if, say I was an average Joe with 10 grand to my name, what should I do with my money? Where would you recommend you could put that money?
Well, I think you've got to consider what your earning potentials are as well. So if you've got 10 grand to your name, but you're earning no money, then obviously that's a different conversation to if you're earning 100 grand a year and you've got 10 grand spare, because you could probably afford to lose that £10,000 if you've got a decent job and you've got earning potential, right? So if you're a young guy and you're making decent money, you can afford to be a little bit more risky. And if you were that scenario, I would be doing almost all of it into Bitcoin, because I'm just very confident about the pricing on it right now. If that was all my money in the world, then I would certainly be doing at least 50% of it into property, stuff that you can rent out now, but you can live in if something goes wrong. But it's very difficult. If you've only got 10,000, it's very hard to buy like a whole property, you know, and then you've got leverage and mortgages to deal with. And I found that over the last few years, it's become not so good to be a landlord anymore. They've made it certainly in the UK. I don't know about the US, but in the UK, they've increased taxes on people. They've increased like the costs of being a landlord. They've like you have to file for loads more licenses and this kind of stuff. They've taken away some of the tax incentives against mortgaging against your property. So it's just not such a lucrative business anymore. So it's difficult. So yeah, I mean, we're both in crypto for the same reason. And I mean, I can only say that this is a great opportunity really right now. And if you want to be very safe, and you don't want to risk it too highly, then it's all Bitcoin. If you want to take a little bit more risk, you can start spreading out into some of the altcoins. But for me, it's Bitcoin. I'm almost certain it's going to double over the next 6 to 10 months.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like you said, it definitely depends on your situation for sure, how much money you have generating every year and that sort of stuff. But also it definitely depends too on your age, you know, and what you're able to lose and how much, you know, if you're retiring next year, you obviously might not want to go all into something so speculative. But I feel like once you get into crypto and you experience that volatility, especially on the younger side of things, it's hard to want to go into stocks and maybe receive 10, 20, even 30% a year. So what's your take on that? Although you might get a far lesser return on other investments, you still think it's a good idea to stay diversified, just so obviously you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. But I guess
if I was to advise you, Ryan, this is your business. You believe in it. This is what you're doing. I don't think there's anything wrong with you having everything you have in crypto. You're just getting started. When I was 22, I thought I knew a lot, and when I got to 25, I was like, holy fuck, I didn't know anything. And then when I got to 30, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know fucking anything. And you're constantly growing and developing, and you know, already to be at a stage where you're at already now, ability to make money. It's so early in what you're doing that I don't think you should worry about it. So you can afford to be speculative. The other great thing about having money in crypto and not in traditional assets is that you're very liquid. So for me, I mean, I would advise to people not to even bother buying a house that they live in now. I mean, I rent most of the time when I'm living. I'm in this house because this villa here, because I bought it to rent out, not because I actually wanted to live in it. I like to live in rented places because when I want to move, I can just move. I can go to places. I'm not tied down to anything. And like we mentioned before, it's such a great opportunity over the next 6 to 12 months. I think you'd be mad to do anything else. And we're only talking about this bull run. I think there's another one coming in like 3 or 4 years, you know, like, so I'll tell you a very interesting thing is that I have a spreadsheet of all my investments. Okay. And they go through maybe like 10 different categories. I have my UK properties. I've got my Indonesian properties. I have my UBS portfolio. I have my cryptocurrency stuff. I have my businesses that I'm involved in a number of businesses. I have a DJ business in China. And I have a couple of investments in small companies in England. So I have all of this on my sheet, right? And it's all live and it's all linked to all the shares and all the prices and all the coin prices. And up until a year and a half ago, I used to value everything in USD. So I'd have like, right, okay, I'm worth this much. And since 12 months ago, I have changed it all. And I now value everything in Bitcoin.
That's awesome.
My whole portfolio is how much I'm worth in Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't have 100% of my assets in Bitcoin, obviously I've been getting richer in fiat, and I've done amazingly in the last 12 months. I've made a huge amount of money, but my value in Bitcoin has gone down significantly because, you know, half of my money's in property, which hasn't really moved. So it's just kind of like an interesting mindset change. And I think people are going to be scared when the bull run ends, because, you know, a lot of people are going to lose some money, but for me, this isn't about the end of this bull run. This is the next one coming, you know, and the one after that. And, you know, we might be in a super cycle right now, in a paradigm shift where everything just changes, and you're going to kick yourself if you didn't, you know, hold on to everything. So all my trades that I do, when I'm not really a day trader, so I don't spend my days looking at charts and saying, oh, that's going to go up, that's going to down. I do obvious trades. So if I kind of know something's going to happen, like I kind of knew XRP was going to pump really hard over the last 2 weeks. I knew it was going to happen. I did a couple of videos on my channel about it, actually. And so I put 100 grand in XRP. It's gone up 4 times, and I'm like, okay, that's great. So I knew that was a great trade. But I don't do the day trading stuff day to day. But I always trade back to BTC, never to USDT or BUSD or whatever. It's always to Bitcoin. That's how because I think long term, when I have family and children, I want to pass down my Bitcoin to them.
Absolutely.
Not anything. Absolutely. So that's my end goal.
So you hold no other cryptos, just Bitcoin, or? No,
I do hold other cryptos, but the majority of I'd say like 60% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. And but I do obvious trades when I think it's going to happen. But when I'm doing those trades, I like, for instance, I will move into BNB. So I'll buy BNB with Bitcoin, and then when I think the trade's done well, I'll move it back into BTC. I also hold some BNB long term, but on that particular trade. So like I have like 50% of my portfolio is offline. I don't touch it. Most of it's in Bitcoin. It doesn't ever move. It's just there. And then I've got stuff which I trade and stuff which I stake and stuff which I do. Like I have a lot of ETH staked on Kraken and on Binance. I do a lot of stuff with I have Bitcoin on like Nexo, BlockFi, Celsius, but only a small amount, because obviously these companies are very risky, and it might be a good thing now that you're getting 6% on your Bitcoin, but when they go wrong, you're going to lose 100% of your Bitcoin. And I've been in places where like unsecured loans, which is basically what they are, when they go wrong quick. There's no way out of them. So I'm very wary of those companies. I much prefer staking, and because you're always in control of your keys.
Yeah, absolutely. DeFi is a game changer, and it's been so cool to see it grow over the past 2 years from absolutely nothing. Like last year, I remember the DeFi market was like $3 billion. Now it's over 100 bill. It's very cool to see the growth over the years. What are some projects that you have interest in, or if not just projects, but market industries?
Crypto projects.
Yeah, what industries also?
Projects?
Mm-hmm.
I am very big on censorship resistant and privacy stuff. So I really like platforms or projects that have that kind of underlying tone about what they're trying to do. For instance, like Theta, like the decentralized or distributed content network delivery. I really like that concept, because you know I didn't like what YouTube and Twitter doing to the US during the elections. I thought it was, you know, you could say I'm a kind of a Trump supporter. I like what Trump's doing. I like some of the things he's doing, but I'm not like a crazy hate everyone else kind of thing. I just I can see kind of a bit of both sides of what they're trying to do.
You
but
have
I just
your own
didn't
opinion.
like.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, and I just didn't like the whole censorship of one particular side. I thought it was very wrong. And I think that is a growing trend. I think, and that's part of the reason why people are really in blockchain, because they like this idea that no one can be their overlords anymore. I'm not sure whether humanity is ready for it. That's another question. Like the idea of Bitcoin, you know, removing the power of the Federal Reserve to be able to control the monetary supply and policy. I'm not sure whether humans are ready for it, but I think we should have a good go at it to see whether we can, you know?
Yeah.
Because humans are not altruistic. People, when it really boils down to it, people are out for themselves. They might say, oh, I care about everyone and the environment and all this kind of stuff, but you can only judge people really by their actions, not by what they say. Because what people say is cheap and easy. You don't make any sacrifice to say something. But when you do something, that's very, very different. And I think what people find is that doing it is very different to saying it. There's a great book I recommend that people read, and I recommend you read it. It's called Sapiens. Don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. And it talks about how we came to be the dominant species on the planet. And the core message about it was there was obviously many different types of humans, right? So there was Homo erectus, there was Neanderthals, Homo sapiens. Actually, people like Neanderthals were much bigger and stronger and actually more intelligent than Homo sapiens. But Homo sapiens were able to do one key thing, which was able to create, they were able to imagine something, aka religion, and they were able to get people more than 30, a larger group of 30 to collaborate and work together. Previously, more than 30 people couldn't keep the complex relationships going. So therefore, Homo sapiens were much more powerful because they had this ability to create larger groups to work together. And that's basically where religion comes from. And it's a really great book, Understanding. It makes you realize that people don't really care about anyone outside of their family or their close friends. And that's fine. I totally agree with that. I'm the same, totally, and that's right. But when you don't have religion, or you don't have patriotism, or you don't have these kind of things, there's no real common goal or common good. And that's why China are doing so fucking good, because they have everyone there thinks the same. They all believe the same. Whether they've been brainwashed to do it, that's another question. But they all have this same goal that they want to achieve, which is totally different to the US, where everyone's kind of fighting between each other on which is the best way to go, right? So it's a great book. I recommend you read that. If you put that, I'll give you the link. You can put it in your description down below.
Very interesting. And yeah, I think, like you were saying before, this bull run, in my opinion, is just getting started. Right now, like you were saying over in Bali, with me as well, maybe it's because we're YouTubers, but you know, I'm getting flows and flows of people coming in and asking me questions, and you know, people that you never have invested in anything before. So I think this past couple months has no doubt been more on the institutional investment side, and now we're just starting to get the retail, and that's when you get the parabolic growth, is when you get those retail traders coming in. We definitely have a long ways to go when it comes to education, especially when it comes to, you know, managing your own private keys, investing in the right stuff, and not necessarily throwing all your money into something like Dogecoin, just because
Did you see that today? Did you see the price up 700%?
I actually did something that I normally wouldn't do, just because the volatility is so crazy. Right before we got on the call, I threw a little short on Dogecoin, made like $2,000. So I'm chilling. I'm feeling good, but I'm not touching it anymore. I told myself I was gonna stay away from derivatives trading, just because I've made more than I've lost, but I've lost enough where I understand that is gambling. That is 100% gambling, and can't do it.
I gifted an ex-girlfriend of mine $1,000 of Dodge last week for her birthday, and it's now worth $7,000.
Oh my god.
So she's absolutely loving it right now.
It
was her choice. She wanted the Dogecoin. I was like, all right, fair enough. And I was like, you're mad. And she was like, I love it. And I'm like, oh my god.
Turns out she was right all along. See, that's the thing.
I just cashed it out for her right now. She's loving
the thing. I have a lot of friends messaging me, asking me about Dogecoin and also XRP. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of XRP, but I completely understand people's opinions on it. You know, everyone has their own little groups in crypto. But it's hard to, I always tell them, like, especially with Dogecoin, you know, it's hard to say, because technically the coin has no use case. It has an infinite supply. It's hard to say, should you invest or not? And then obviously when I say don't invest, it goes up 400% and everybody hates me. So I can't win with Dogecoin. There's no winning with this one. It's pretty crazy.
That's, I mean, the Elon Musk effect, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be.
I think he likes it because there's no real personal company connected to it.
Yeah.
So when he's shilling it, or whatever you want to call it is that he's doing, he's not pushing one person's benefit. He's just doing it because it's great for everyone that's in it. You know, it's like, you understand what I mean? It's not.
And he can't get in trouble with the SEC. Although they were trying to get him, but there's no way they're going to be able to do anything with that.
Yeah, and we're coming back to XRP. I'm also not a big XRP. I don't like it at all. I've never liked that coin. I've always said it's a shit coin. Don't like what they're doing. I don't like they've got a closed node set up, so anyone can't join in to be part of to be a node. they have to select you, which basically means it's not a real distributed ledger. And I think a lot of the token ownership is owned by the people at Ripple. I think over 50% of it or something crazy like this.
Yeah.
But I think it's got huge earning potential over the next month or so, because it's going to go up. I think it's probably going to go up to about $5 or something crazy like this.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Definitely, with the current market sentiment, there's no doubt it will do extremely well. But like you just said, when it comes to the fundamentals, I understand where people come from with, I don't know about now with their lawsuit with the SEC. They had big names on board and everything. But at the end of the day, right now, they're still not being utilized. And I hope everything works out with the SEC. I do hope they win, because that will definitely be a hit for the entire crypto industry if they don't in the long run. But at the end of the day, I don't know. That's just one of those cryptos where you like it or you don't. And if you don't like it, the community will let you know how they feel. So you got to be careful for sure.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true.
I'm actually I'm really focused right now personally on my investments in the logistics industry and also enterprise DeFi. I don't know if you've heard of Unibright, but they're currently one of my largest holdings. They're focused on Unibright. Highly recommend you check it out. They're focused on onboarding enterprises into blockchain seamlessly, cost effective, just making the process simple, plug and play sort of solutions. And they actually just announced about 2 weeks ago that they before this announcement, they were working with Coca-Cola in North America to onboard their bottling solutions to help with invoices and all that sort of stuff. And then they announced ServiceNow, which is a software development company that works with 7-Eleven, Adidas, a long list of names, Malaysia Airlines. But anyways, this most recent announcement was that they will be launching their official product in June, and they're going to be onboarding new clients, which include Google, Microsoft, Target, Ernst & Young, and Accenture. And in my opinion, this is hands down the largest, you can't even say partnership, because technically these are clients, which in my opinion is way more relevant. These companies are going to be paying Unibright in their cryptocurrency to use their framework. So it's still very under the radar, mainly due to it not being the most accessible crypto. But if you ever feel like dabbling a little bit more in altcoins, check that one out. Okay. You will not be disappointed.
Send me the link to that.
Sure. Yeah, I have. If anyone watching is interested, also I have a handful of reviews on the channel. I'll leave the link down below. But that one has the most interest for me right now. Also, I'm a big advocate for vechain. They're focused on the supply chain industry, traceability for products, all that sort of stuff. But that's
very clear use case they have. They're very clear, which is what makes it easily. They can get that into the real world.
Yeah, which is exactly. Great. And that's the crazy thing is they are, especially with like vechain. Walmart in China right now is using vechain every single day, processing hundreds of thousands of transactions. Obviously, if you're not involved in crypto, you might not know about that, but it's very cool to see from 3 years ago to now, coming from not even a product to finally being used by companies around the world. So that's my focus personally, but of course, you always have to have a little bit of Bitcoin. In your case, mad respect, you're all in on Bitcoin. Not all in, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that call, and it's great to get some. You're obviously a very smart guy, and I think you're going to do very well. And I'm very happy to kind of give you some advice, on the mistakes and the good things that I've done over the next few years. And I'm looking forward to seeing your channel blow up.
Likewise. Hey guys, if you're still watching, I should have said in the beginning, I'll be sure to put a little tag or something. Go over and subscribe to Spencer's channel. He started it about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and he's already at 2,000 subscribers. He's killing it. So go over there. Let's get him to 3,000. He posts great content on cryptocurrency reviews, some lifestyle stuff, and also talking about, a lot of his wisdom, his experience, and you can learn a lot over on his channel. So make sure you go over there, hit that subscribe button for him, and tune on in to his future videos.
I would love that. Thank you very much, guys.
No problem.
That's great. Let's keep in touch, Ryan. I'm loving it. Looking forward to the next one. I'm looking forward to this video being posted. And maybe we can touch base again in a couple of weeks, and we can do a video on my channel.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds great. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video informative, be sure to leave a like on the video and a comment down below. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you in the next.